Hey guys, welcome to the Chinese Finger Trap. I'm Michael, and today I want to talk about hermiting phase, the hermiting phase of spiritual awakening, and more pointedly, the hermiting phase of the dark night of the soul. These are two kind of one stick. The dark night of the soul and spiritual awakening are sort of one stick. It's just different phases or different parts of it, okay? Now, why is it that in the dark night of the soul, we find ourselves to be really alone and also quite lonely? Not just alone, but lonely, because you can be physically alone and feel connected, right? We feel completely disconnected from our community, our tribe, our family, our friends, because so much of that has been falling away. It's just been falling apart. It's really leaving us. And sometimes, for instance, in my experience, very quickly it falls apart. It just falls away, and we're left in a strange circumstance where we don't feel connected anymore. Why is that? Well, the reason that we enter into this hermiting phase is precisely for the reason that we need to learn how to hear ourselves. We need to learn what is my voice and my intuition telling me versus a lot of the nonsense that people have put in my head over the years. A lot of times when I was younger, I would recognize I'm thinking something, don't do that. It wasn't my voice thinking it. It was my, like a parent's voice or a teacher's voice in my head. So the reason that we're forced to be alone in this process, unwillingly oftentimes, is because we've gone so long without being able to hear our own voice, and we've listened to the voice of others for so long that our life's kind of gotten off track, right? That's a lot of what this is about. That's a lot of what this whole process is about, is that our lifestyle and our life and our beliefs and our inner feeling state have simply gotten off track from our heart, our self, our gut, our intuition, who we know we are and who we know we came here to be. We got off track. So we are thrust into this experience of being alone so that we can reckon with, for the very first time potentially in our entire life, with who we really are. That's what we're here to do. So I want to give you guys some ideas and some insights into why it is that we're in this, and also how to navigate it better. What I want you guys to recognize is that it's going to happen. Likely, if you're watching this video, it's already started to happen. What I can recommend is let it happen. Embrace it. The part that we have to recognize is that this process is intelligent. It's not just a chaotic collapsing of our life. It's an intelligent rebirthing process designed by a higher intelligence that we can't really comprehend, in the beginning at least. We can look back with hindsight and say, oh, duh, of course that had to happen, because this and this and this and this was not working in my life. And we don't want to get rid of those things. We don't want to give them up because it's scary and we're really accustomed to how it is, right? We're really addicted to the status quo. Think about all of the major problems in an individual's life and in the collective society. It's because some people want to cling to a status quo that's not really serving most of us. And that's true about internally. A lot of our psyche is sort of fragmented. A lot of this process is trying to reintegrate all the disintegrated parts of our psyche that we and other people have sort of parceled out over our lifetime. And so there's lots of parts of us, you could think of them as a metaphor, as massive parts of society who feel that the way that life is going for them in their country is not serving them. So for instance, in my life or in your life, how much of your psyche is being served by the way that you live your life? That's the great question, isn't it? So the more that we integrate all of these parts of ourselves into the way that we move in our life, the more that we have integration, right? And then the more that we find healing from the fragmentation of our lives and our life experience, okay? So, what does this mean for us, and how can we more easily navigate this dissolving and reintegration process? Recognize that it's okay to be alone. It's okay! All of our culture and society is so, social and talk, blah, 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 all the time. You don't need to do that. It's okay. You could be alone. It's literally okay. You can be alone. It's okay. You can love yourself alone. It's okay. You're not going to learn how to love yourself until you're alone. And that's okay. You'll be alone. Don't worry about it. It's going to happen. In my experience, my hermiting phase was years. Really, it's been years. I've been mostly alone for years. And it's been the most beautiful and profound gift that I have ever received. At this particular point in history, there's a worldwide sickness spreading about, and it's forced millions and probably billions of people into solitude, isolation. And to me, this is a fascinating opportunity for the whole world to begin to reckon with their internal world and the way that they interact with the external world. See how there's a macro and a microcosm existing in this moment. The individuals on this planet make up the functionality of society, right? Society is essentially the people involved in the world. Now, the way that the world is going, of course, most of us can recognize is pretty not good. The way that we are engaging with our ecology and other creatures on this planet is really unsustainable, meaning it cannot sustain. We don't have enough of it to sustain it at this pace within the paradigm that we're functioning in. So, how in the world is the world going to alter that? The status quo people aren't going to change it. The world has produced an experience for us that is forcing many, many, many millions of people into self-introspection so that they can reckon with all of the parts of themselves. Because you know what? There's all of the people in the world that are doing, bad things to the environment and to other people and to other beings. What are they doing that for? And what part of them is doing that? It's not coming from their heart because they got disconnected from it. We have a lot of people in the world that are really disconnected from their heart. So their heart is saying, don't do that, that's wrong, that's bad, we don't want that, we don't feel that. We feel connected to that animal, that person, that tree, that forest, that rainforest, that river. Don't do that, don't pollute it. But what we've been raised to do in a lot of modern cultures, especially in the West, is ignore that. Ignore your heart, ignore your gut feeling, and just think logically. It's logical to just chop all the trees down because we need trees. Okay, yeah, but that kind of discounts some of the other factors in life, right? And the other functionalities of the world and other needs that we have. But we can't hear the needs of, say, our heart or our connectedness to the greater collective consciousness if we have fractured that relationship, okay? And so the hermiting phase is trying to reintegrate and reconnect us with all of the parts of us who will help guide us in life. It wants to reconnect us to those people or to those parts of ourselves, to the child inside of us, to the nature preserver inside of us, to the lover inside of us, to the community organizer inside of us. That's what it's trying to connect us to. And the more that we connect individually to our own intuition, our own capacities, the less that we are in need of, for instance, authority to tell us what to do, because we have the system to tell us what to do. We already know what to do. It's intuitive when the natural human system is fully realized. When it's not fully realized, you need people to tell you, you can pee here, you can go here, you can sit here, don't walk on this side, don't walk on that side, you're gonna get a ticket, don't cry. You don't need that. You don't need that when you have a reliable system, which all of us do. It's just a matter of actualizing it. The spiritual awakening and the dark night of the soul process is asking us to actualize the full potential of the human being that we are, and beyond the human being that we are, the superhuman being that we are, the potential that we are. We are being asked to actualize that in this process of being alone and lonely. Now, why are we lonely though, right? I didn't really answer that for you. We're lonely because we had been connected to a particular group of people and tribe and family and community and friend group that no longer really serves our best interest. That's just the honest truth. The reason friends fall away is because your vibration is shifting. Your vibration is raising. Now, for a little bit, your vibration might be dropping. You might be dropping into the darkness and the despair. That's another reason that you feel alone, because no one's willing to come down there with you. You're going to be alone down there so that you can face what's down there alone and develop the courage inside of you to be really in your life, okay? So when your vibration is dropping into the darkness, you're going to be alone. You're going to feel lonely because that group doesn't want to be there. They want to be having fun and partying, right? Now, once you've really reached into the depths and the darkness of who you are and what this life is all about, and you re-emerge from the darkness with newfound insight and a newfound ability to hold light in that darkness, you re-match with those friends only for a moment, because then your vibration keeps going, and then again, you're not a match to that friend group anymore. Again, you're lonely, but in a different direction. You were lonely at the bottom in the dark, and now you're lonely up here, because you haven't really attracted the new group of people who will serve your purpose and your best interest and your life purpose. And the thing is, the faster your vibration raises, the more quickly people come into your life and they leave quickly and come in and leave. Boom, 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 because you're just bing, 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 bing. You're raising so quickly. Many of us on this planet at the moment in 2020 are raising our vibration incredibly quickly, meaning that we're releasing the weightedness and the depressive factors of our lives so quickly that nothing is holding us down. So we don't really want to go be drunk with our friends anymore. We don't really want to gossip anymore because it doesn't really feel right to us, because it's not who we are anymore. That part of us, he's kind of started to love again, because that part of you that's a gossiper is really a defensive part of you. It's a defensive inner child, isn't it? It's a defensive inner child that wants to say, I'm this way and you're that way, so look at you, you're below me. And so what we can recognize is that this inner child, once we start to nurture it, once we start to care for it, once we start to love it and embrace it and bring back love into the life of the inner child, meaning we integrate the loving parts of us and the inner child that doesn't feel loved, and we merge these parts together, as well as merge them with our logical, rational faculties and our courage and our strength and our masculinity of, no matter if you're a man or a woman, your masculinity, the masculine energy inside of you and the feminine energy inside of you, once these begin to merge and we lose this sort of separation and fragmentation inside of us, well, we find incredible union in all of these parts, and that little child inside of us no longer feels the need to be defensive. And so he's going to be in love. He's going to be in the state of love along with the other parts of you. Once love is the core of where you bring all of yourself to, once you transmute all of your energies into love and into intuition, and into power, and into groundedness, right? Into clarity and truth and awareness, then you can become incredibly, incredibly integrated and balanced into your life. But that only happens once we become aware, conscious of the parameters of our life, and that's only really gonna happen to the depth that we need it to happen while we are alone, while there aren't people telling us who we are, what we do, who we were last week, what we did. Don't you remember how messed up you are? Don't you remember? You can't be good, you can't love people, because you're shit last week, I remember. And so we get to let these things go, and we get to really embrace the aloneness, and it's a time for us to study the world around us, study knowledge that we are interested in, study our system, our body. The definition of a yogi is a person who has gone off into solitude for many years, who has discovered the true value and the true capacity of their mind and of their body and the full human system. That's all. That's what you're asked to do. You're asked to reckon with the capacity, the immense capacity of who you really are. It's not easy. It's easier to stay just little old me, victim old me, but that's not what this life is asking of us, guys. We recognize that. So I encourage you, embrace your aloneness. Learn to love your aloneness. And the more that you learn to love it, the more you'll recognize it's because you're a little more stable than the rest of them, huh? That's why you like to be alone, because they're a little, the world's got a, they're the crazy ones, aren't they? So, and that's all right. We're gonna let them be crazy because there's a need for crazy in the world. Otherwise, no one would ever go sane, because the crazy drives us sane, not the other way around. All right, guys, I hope you understand a little bit more clearly why we're hermiting, why we're alone, and I hope that you embrace it and enjoy the experience and really take it as an opportunity to deeply engage with yourself in meaningful practices. Now, I mentioned inner child work in this video, and so if you're interested in an inner child exercise, I have a free inner child release meditation. It is called the Chinese finger trap technique, and it's essentially an inner child, inner journeying process that'll allow you to enter in, meet your inner child, and free them from the suffering and the pain and the discomfort of the past and of their wounding and bruising and trauma. And you can find integration and acceptance with the experiences in your life. If you're interested in that, there's a link in the description below. Go ahead and download that and practice it. Keep at it. 21 days, 35 days, 45 days. Keep making habits and you will feel better. All right, guys, take care. Peace out. Stay well.